Hi, my name is Eli Chow, and I chose the West Point Inn for my Travels in Marin third grade project. West Point Inn is located on Mt Tam. You can only get to it by hiking or biking in. Today, the inn is owned by the Marin Municipal Water District, also known as an MWD. But is operated by a non-profit volunteer organization, the West Point Inn Association. Volunteer innkeepers take care of the place, but anyone can make reservations to stay there overnight by going to the website www.westpointinn.com. The inn has 7 guest rooms upstairs, a kitchen, a large common room with huge fireplaces, and a great big outside porch. There are 5 cabins surrounding the main lodge. We chose to stay in the main lodge. My family and I drove up the mountain and parked in the Panto parking lot. We left our car there and hiked into the West Point Inn on a trail called Old Stage Road. This is a picture of me at the trailhead. It was a 1.9-mile hike in to the West Point Inn, and the day we did it, it was raining. I carried my overnight stuff in my backpack. My dad carried the really heavy stuff, like the foods and sleeping bags, for all of us. This is a picture of my mom and I on the hike up. And this is me and my dad. The picture of the first glimpse we got of the West Point Inn as we hiked up. The view from up there is epic. You can see San Francisco, the Golden Bridge, the San Francisco Bay Bridge, and the Pacific Ocean. I am with Buford Bear at the West Point Inn. We made it! I'm sitting on an old railroad tie from the Mill Valley and Mt Tam scenic railway, which used to run up Mt Tam over 100 years ago, bringing tourists up to enjoy the same great views that we enjoy today. The Point Inn was built in 1904 as an overnight stopover and restaurant at a place where the train met a horse-drawn stagecoach from Willow Camp, today called Fisher Beach. People would get off the train at this western point of the railroad, which is why it's called West Point Inn, and then take the stagecoach down for a stay at the beach. Travel was much slower back then, so this leg of the trip took many days. This picture of the West Point Inn from around the time it was built, just after the turn of the 20th century. The first scenic railway was built by hand in 6 months in 1896. The track started in downtown Mill Valley and went all the way up to the Mt Tam East Peak. It had 281 turns, and the engineers called it the crookedest railroad in the world. West Point Inn and its surrounding 5 cabins are the only surviving buildings of the Mill Valley and Mt Tam Scenic Railway and are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Inside the West Point Inn today is a small lounge where hikers and bikers can buy snacks and drinks. you pay on the honor system, which means there is no cashier or anybody there to take your money. You put the money into an open coffee can, and it's up to you to put in the right amount. First thing I did when I got there on that rainy day was to make a hot chocolate for myself. I put $1 into the honor system coffee can. And then I sat down with Buford and got warned by one of the fair prices. Some pictures of the inside Westman Inn. Today, this section of the inn is only open to overnight guests. This stained glass cupboard has the date that Westwood Inn was originally built and opened. Cohen, 1904. This is the common room where everyone who stays overnight has their dinner. We played a big game of Uno with some of the other kids who were also staying overnight with their families at the inn. Have I mentioned that there is no electricity at the Westman Inn? This is a picture of one of the night fixtures that is powered by propane gas. There are not very many gas-powered nights at the inn, so it's best to bring your own flashlight if you stay overnight. Oh hi! Here's Buford and me again. Buford likes the common room with the big fireplace. There's an old piano up there, but I didn't want to play it. This is a picture of the upstairs room that we stayed in, room 5. It was small but comfortable. They didn't build very big back in 1904. And Buford in room 5. Everybody who stays overnight at the inn shares one bathroom. I did not take a bath out there, but one grown-up did. Here's the toilet. Other than the propane lights, which only the innkeeper is allowed to light, there's actually absolutely no flames allowed at the Westwood Inn. Too much of a fire hazard. Here's a view from room 5 in the morning when we woke up. It was really rainy and windy the night before that, but then the weather cleared and the next day was beautiful. Picture of the tourists who came today to enjoy the view from Westwood Inn. Hikers, mountain bikers, and horseback riders. It's kind of amazing that the Westwood Inn still exists after all these years. It's the only building that is still standing from an earlier era of scenic railways climbing on majestic mountains.